In 2007, my husband and I, and then my daughter, we moved to China. So she was 10 months old when we moved to China. So my husband was studying Chinese, and I think we just have a heart for different nations and different people. And so he was studying Chinese and kind of got motivated to be like, hey, what if we're young, we just have a little baby, like what if we go to China? He became an English teacher over there and just thought, you know what, it's never gonna be easier to go. So we packed up and went. I'll call her Nai Nai. She was like our Chinese grandma, and she was such a blessing. And so we met her in our little complex, our neighborhood, and she was riding her bicycle, and she came and she was like, hello. And I was like, oh, do you speak English? And so she ended up being my language tutor. And so she would teach me Chinese and we would speak English. She was my insider. She taught me everything. She taught me how to do the grocery stores, how to shop in the markets, how to cook Chinese style, and she just was my life hack. And so we became great friends, family. In China, I was so impressed with the community here in these large cities, the community of the elderly. They would sit outside together. They would all go to the parks. They would all be dancing. They would have organized exercise classes and dancing and kung fu. I was just so impressed. I even went to one of their little concerts once, and it's just the sense of community that I would say here in the US at least, I feel like old people are isolated. In the US, we value independence, freedom, some of these things, and I think too much so independence. So I learned a lot. I was thinking, oh my goodness, when I grow older, I want to gather my friends and we gotta go dance in the park. At first, it was exciting, very exciting to live in a different culture, but at the same time, feeling lonely in the sense of I was the only American in our town. There were moments when everyone would take pictures of my daughter. I don't know if you can see her here, but here she is. She had this blonde hair and it would curl. One of the questions that everyone would ask me is, do you curl her hair? When you live overseas, whether you're in a place for a semester, 6 months, or for a year, they say, make it your home. Because if you know you're passing through, it's amazing you won't do certain things. Like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. It's kind of like buy the plant, and then give it away. But make it your home and pursue relationships. So we did make certain investments into relationships, and I felt like that is why we were able to stay for 7 years. I feel like I have a world perspective now. The US is a large, great country with a lot of pride. And same with China, Zhongguo, which means the center of the world. There are so many countries, so many places, right? And people who think differently and do things differently, and that's okay. And look how things are getting done. And so it was just opened my eyes to a grander scale, a bigger vision. It's been an honor, right? And it's a blessing. It's it's kind of a responsibility, I would say, that I have now, seeing the things that I've been able to see, not in oh, I've traveled all these places, but more like I have a responsibility to teach even my family, who some people didn't get to travel, right? A lot of times it's easy for people to compare themselves to each other and they only see their world and they don't realize not everyone lives certain ways. And it kind of took my eyes off of what am I consumed by? Who am I trying to compete with, right? And I have seen people with far less have so much joy, and it doesn't affect their lives, with these other people who have so much. And how is it affecting their lives? Do they have more joy? Actually not. Sometimes I see them more consumed, more isolated, more trapped by their stuff. My oldest daughter, who's now 18, she went to the You'er, which is the local kindergarten in China. I was surprised how long the school day was, so I didn't let her go for the full school day. I kind of custom made her hours. School-age children, I remember seeing them, they would go early in the morning, and then they might not come home till 5 or 6 at night, and then they would do extra classes up through 9 p.m. and then I would actually hear my neighbor's child. He'd be playing the piano then at 9 or 10 p.m. at night, and I'm looking at my kids sitting there who's like, maybe they're watching TV or my son's building Legos. Like I was just thinking, maybe I need to be a little tougher on you. I mean, clearly we value education and achievement here in the U.S., but I would say there's less pressure. We also value this creativity, this sports outlet, this desire to like, okay, now you need to rest and chill. A lot of times it would be the grandparents who are with the children. The value was different. I care about you, I love you. I won't tell you. I don't think they say it much. And we care about you, so you need to do your education, achievement. We're helping you, but you need to accomplish these things, right? Maybe here in the US, it's more like we do value our family, our relationships are more important than your education and your achievement. There was definitely a priority to male. I did speak with several moms who maybe were forced to not keep their child if it was going to be a girl. My faith background is I'm a Christian. There's not a religious freedom in China. But I do know that there's many religious holidays in the sense where they would honor their ancestors. So on those days, I feel like it was honored and it was a value. But I would say during normal life, you don't hear of any religion. There are Christians in China, but I would say they only have government-run churches, and then the rest have to be underground. I think the culture shock of just, I'm one of many.
Yeah.
And I think here in the US, everyone tells you you're special.
Yeah.
You're a special snowflake. The value for them is you are a part of something, right? We are China. We together make up something, right? And so to me at the 2008 Olympics, when they put on their opening ceremonies, the US used to put up like, here's our star, the singer, right? Where I felt like China was like, I mean, we could do that, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna give you like 100 drummers, all these people who make up something beautiful. It puts me in awe to go, I can't always assume the way I think or what I know. Do I have all the facts? Do I have all the information? There's different worldviews and factors. And then you start to realize, well, oh, I understand why a person thinks or acts a certain way, because look at their environment, right? So I just feel like it makes me more a learner of the world. Wanting to ask more questions and slower to judge or just put someone in a box to go, you know what, I probably really don't understand what you're coming from. I can assume I do, but I actually really don't. Tell me more about you. So Bridges International is a student group for international students. And so our heart really is to promote multicultural friendships and relationships. And our real heart is to serve students, right? So we have all these different opportunities. The best part of my job is meeting students from all over the world. Seychelles, Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria, Europe, Norway, to China, to Thailand, so many different perspectives. And I think the honor of thinking, now that I've lived overseas, to think, it's a really big deal that you're here. Like you have come from your home country. I can't even imagine what someone's family is like, who you represent. And to think who all of these students represent when they come here. Yes, the biggest challenge is saying goodbye. So I would say the amazing thing is meeting people from all over the world. The hard thing is, international students leave. You have to go back, right? You're not staying here. We know that's part of the job.
Yeah.
That's part of the challenge.
But it's still hard.
It's still hard. And so I think, yes, we have friends and relationships kind of all over the world. But the hard part is we say goodbye a lot.
Yeah.
I bring that experience of knowing how to initiate and pursue. I do that in my job every single day. My joy is to connect people, is to bring other people together, right? And to watch them build friendships. That's my joy. It is a joy and an honor. Way to go, way to be brave and bold, traveling to a whole new world, a whole new land, studying in a whole new university. not even in your language, right? Like learning new food and new people, like way to take a risk and way to be bold and way to see a new world. And I wish you all the best on your new journey.